Hello, students. We are about to begin the sixth chapter, that is agriculture. We all are aware of the fact that agriculture is one phenomenon which has been continued or which is being done by the humanity right from the beginning of their existence. So, this human activity that involves cultivation of soil, growing and harvesting of crops, breeding, as well as raising of your livestock, forestry, as well as dairying. Agriculture of today is totally different from the traditional agriculture which was being done in primitive stages of human existence. Now there are modern form of agriculture which has become highly mechanized and it is diversified as well. As far as your regional contrasts in agriculture is concerned, that means the difference of way of doing an particular way of doing a farming, it is quite different in different countries of the world, and the amount or the number of percentage of the peoples involved, if we compare it with the total population of peoples of any particular country, nearly 60% of the African and Asian countries, the peoples are involved in agriculture, whereas in USA it is 3%, and in Europe it is nearly 9%, and South America it is 20%. So farm size is also a kind of a difference which is existing. The farm sizes are bigger where the population is lower as compared to that of where the percentage of peoples are higher. That is, an inversely related relation is there. Wherever the farm size is more, like in countries like USA or maybe in countries like your Europe, uh, the number of peoples involved are lesser, the farm size is bigger. So there is a difference in the way the agriculture is being done in different countries. If we see about the prehistoric agriculture scene, early agriculture was practiced in southwest of Asia, Southeast Asia, Europe, as well as Nile River Valley of Egypt in Africa. And the famous centers of agriculture were river valleys across China, then Indus Valley civilizations, which you normally must have heard about, Tigris and Euphrates of Iraq. These were the regions where agriculture was being done in a primitive stage. Then, as far as animal domestication is concerned, which is a part and parcel of doing an agriculture, it started way back in 6th century BC. However, a few earlier records were also available, which is the date it dates back to 10,000 BC. Okay, so records of wheat and barley cultivation is found even in the 8th century in Middle East, and that is quite evident. Rice cultivation was started in China, and it was way back some 5500 BC. Early tools of agriculture were made of wood and stones, and the hilly areas it was the cultivation was dependent more on your rainfall. Farmers in China had developed a system of irrigation that was quite evident in growth of cultivation in that kind of a country, where the irrigation was also developed at that point of time. Prior to that, of uh, peoples throughout the world were dependent more on rainfall. There were massive changes were introduced in Roman period, that was in between 2500 BC to 500 AD. The cultivation of many fruits and vegetables also came into existence. Then thereafter cotton spinning records are also available nearly 2000 BC. So tools and implements showed a tremendous improvement in the way the agriculture was being done all throughout the world. As far as modern agriculture is concerned, as we have already talked about, the kind of inverse proportion is there in between the field size and the number of peoples involved. Modern agriculture started in 16th century in Europe, mainly due to pressure of your increasing human population. In 1701, Jethro Tull, an English reformer, agriculture reformer, developed a seed drill that could sow seeds mechanically in a row. Later, he developed horse-drawn hoe for this purpose. So, this was something which was in the 17th century or 16th century. The things were being developing as a more modern form of agricultural practices which was being done in the European countries. Then crop farming, as far as it is concerned, in Middle East, corn, potato, and sunflower was being they were being cultivated. Soybean was primarily there in and onion in China, and sugarcane and rice in South Asia. Modern farmers are able to select crops according to the environment. So these are um, few things which has been more uh, there were more drastic changes in this new era of your farm cultivation. So as far as uh, the modern selection of crops, where it could be which crop to grow so as to yield, so that the yield was better, they can understand the requirement of the crop in terms of soil, water, irrigation, and fertilizers. So it was subdivided in this kind of a scenario. They are all skilled planting, growing, harvesting, and strong. The various crops, they can control the growth of the weeds, insects, and various diseases. That is one thing which is being done so as to protect your crops. Then there is now use of biotechnology that is also supporting the field of agriculture. You must have heard about biotechnology, where the seeds are being developed in a more conducive manner so as to produce things which are better of quality, and at the same time the produces more. As far as grain crops are concerned, they are the most important source of food energy in the world, and more than 75% of the population of the world consume it. The crops which are grown for their seeds, and there are two types of crops, one for the eating purpose, one for the purpose of producing seeds, which are being once again being used to produce your crop farms. Food of majority of the world population comes from these crops, either directly or in the processed form, like barley, oats, maize, and they are also served as livestock and poultry feed. Wheat, barley, rye, oat are cultivated in most parts of the temperate zone, whereas low to moderate rainfall is there. And because these crops require less water, therefore they are more productive in these areas than those with heavy rainfall. It requires high temperature and heavy rainfall in the condition where rice is being produced. So, the tropical countries like our is very good in it, including some parts of China. And your corn require less water, therefore it is grown in dry areas. So corn is being produced like that. So there are various temperature as well as rainfall requirement for various crops. All grain crops support the mechanization, and you must have seen in so many documentaries or maybe in your uh, discovery channels and all that mechanization is being done so as to get the yielded product in a more mechanized manner, and the yield can be also turned from that growth or the harvesting part of the season from the crop to the end product in terms of your wheat. So there are various mechanized machines which are available. Machinery performs tilling, planting, as well as harvesting of the crop. That is quite mechanized now, and one of the premier premium states was your Punjab, which was doing all these activities from quite some time. Now it is being used throughout each look and corner of the country, and where your India is concerned. As in the tropical areas, use of machinery is comparatively less, and rough terrain, it is the size of the farm and the rough terrain is there you need a more complicated machine form. In such areas most of the work is performed with hands. So in your hilly terrains where the region is tough, the hands on hands are more involved, while in plain areas machinery is being used. In 1960s, there was a tremendous improvement in the crop farming. New high yielding seeds were developed, and these seeds were pest resistant. So, in that case, during 1960s, there was a fast development in the way we have started doing farming with a more mechanized form, and thus the agricultural production in these areas increased considerably. This was known as the Green Revolution. As far as the forage crops are concerned, these crops are grown for animal feed. These crops are mown, dried, and stored as hay. So, basically, these things which are developed as a forage crop is basically for your animals which are being reared simultaneously along with doing your cultivation. Some crops are chopped and stored wet as silage. Uh, then corn, sunflower, and alfalfa. Alfalfa. They are used to make silage that is stored in a place called silo, and silage is used to give nutritious food to animals. So, because as the animals are being reared for their milk and their meat, these forage crops are more important in terms of their nutritional value. And in tropical and subtropical areas, silage is not stored, so animals take a fresh silage which is in the form of grass or any other fodder crop. So basically, forage crop is a fodder crop basically for your animals, and storage is required during winter season where uh, it gets dried up in the temperate areas. So this is all about your first part which you will be doing in your sixth chapter, that is agriculture till your forage crops. Go through it, go through the video, understand some very simple things which are being discussed in it. Thereafter, we will be doing the next part of it. Just go through the video. You must have already received or maybe in the process of receiving your syllabus for your next term, which is scheduled in December. This time you will be getting subjective question answers as you are getting for most of the other subjects. For EVS, it will be like this, that you will be getting question answers which will be subjective in form. You need to prepare accordingly, go through the question answers, go through your chapters. You will be getting MCQs. So start going through your chapters. You will be getting from chapter 2 to chapter 6. So that means 4 chapters will be coming up to you, though I have already told you right now. You can check it when your syllabus arrives. That is it for the day. Okay, good day, students.